So I just turned 38. And I always get really contemplative around my birthday. If you have seen another video of mine or you follow me on, why is my hair like this, on other platforms, you already know this about me. But if you're new here, this is a thing that I do every year. But this is the first time I've made a video out of it. And I think it's because the combination of this past year being so hard in a unique way, and also it feeling like a really pivotal moment in my specific life and journey as a woman. This year has just been really tough. It's been filled with a lot of struggle. I feel like I lost my sense of self during my mid-30s, just with being pulled in so many different directions and people needing me for different things, different expectations being put on me, which, good and bad. But on the whole, there were a lot of things that really came out of just the time that I've taken this year to understand how I got here. My goals and my intentions for 38. And I wanted to make this a video because I want to speak it into existence. I want to manifest it. And two, I want it to hold me accountable. It's that thing where if you tell people you're more likely to do it. It's that. And that's not necessarily me. And I know I'm very goal oriented and good and a bad thing, but it's mainly so I don't forget. And it makes me walk the walk on days that I maybe feel distracted, right? My goals for 38 really come from harder lessons that I've learned. The first one I have is to listen more. I find as I get older, and especially with having become a reader, it is amazing what happens when you just stop. Whatever that might be, your judgment, your assumption, your whatever. Never ever the oldest right now, she's 12, and she the number one thing she says right now is, I know. It drives me insane. And it's because I'm in the polar opposite part of my life where I just think I don't know anything. You know what I mean? The more I learn, the more I don't know. And I really love that. I just want to listen to other people in whatever way that presents itself to me. The other thing that ties into that is I want to continue to be more curious. I want to read more. This year, 2023, I set a book goal for myself of 50 books. I just finished my 31st, so I'm on my 32nd right now. I want to continue that. I have really enjoyed reading. I also just want to continue learning more and being more curious. I am the type of learner that if you tell me what to learn, I don't want to do it. If you saw my last video, I'll link it. I talked about being shattered by grief. And when you're in a stage of that kind of you're just in a million pieces on the floor, right? When you're starting to put yourself back together, you make decisions about as you pick up individual, it's literally what this feels like for me. As I pick up an individual piece of myself, it's do I want to keep this or do I want to alter it? And that sort of bleeds itself into let life present you. Don't, again, it goes to the thing I said, don't assume. Be really open-hearted, be really open-minded, be really open to whatever it presents itself as. I've been on a social science kick this year with reading. And it sort of flirts into theology. And I'm not a religious person at all, but I'm not religious because of my own childhood with it. But I respect the concept of a communal, going to church, and I see why people do it. It's fine. I'm not critical of people that do it. And what I've noticed in my exploration of the sort of junction of science and religion that I've sort of been exploring, the thought leaders and the people that are the general experts in these whatever religion that we're talking about, the way they explain things. I just finished this book called Becoming Wise. I'll link it below. I'm really glad I read it. It's very good. It's not always an easy read though. I think it took me 10 days to read it, and that's a long time for me. She does a really beautiful job of talking through logic and modern world to a religious person to contextualize it in a way that, you know what I mean? This is the reality. Can you put your lens of whatever your faith is on it? And just listening, reading how they approach it has really opened my eyes to the bigger picture of things in a way that I don't maybe innately go to, or it'll flip how I look at things in a completely unrelated way. right? And I just find that's been so helpful. So I want to continue doing that, like challenging myself and just to read, not even have, I don't want to have an expectation on it. I don't want to necessarily put a goal on it. I just want to keep doing it. And I find that makes me, it just, if nothing else, gives me more tools in my tool belt. I also want to audit myself in a way that I've maybe never done before. I'm a very self-critical person. I'm very self-aware. I know my flaws. I know my weaknesses. I know the cons on the list that I bring. And I don't have any sort of ego attached to, I can justify why I'm a certain way, but I don't have like an ego pull on it. I want to audit what I do because it's necessary, because it matters. Like there's this book I read, and she literally says, ask yourself, do I need to do this? Like this task, do I need to be the one that does it? Do I need to do it right now? And does it even need to happen at all? And I sort of like really want to take that in a inward way, where it's not just about like chores, it's about, which even then I'm reading a book right now where she changes the term for that to care tasks. And I really like that because it is like, it's tending, right? So it's that concept of tending. And that was like sort of my word for the year. I don't really do that, but I one foot in, one foot out to it. That was sort of my word if I was gonna pick one, just because of how delicate I started. Like literally Adelaide passed the day after Christmas. I was a fucking wreck. Right at the beginning of the year. I mean, I still cry at the drop of a hat, but I am choosing to look, I'm choking up right now. I am choosing to look at the shattering and this sense of just like a sort of everything, like a wildfire, something like everything just went down at once, right? As I've pulled myself back together, it's sort of been this really fucked up gift of what do I want to keep about myself? What do I want to double down about myself? What do I want to eliminate? What do I want to be conscious of improving? Stuff like that. And so, do I need to do this? Do I need to do it right now? Why do I want to do this? What's the underlying current behind this? Just that deeper, much deeper, slower, which is really hard for me. Like really hard for me. That's something that I am like the Energizer Bunny. I have two modes. I have go and zombie. And finding that gray, that mid ground, I think is one of the gifts I'm being given in this state that I'm in. In an effort to respect that, I want to like, okay, how do I spend my time? Do I enjoy this? Also, one of the things I really loved when I got divorced is I promised myself once I finished paying it off, I would embark on a year of yes. And I actually started it before I had finished paying it off. I just needed it for like my mental health. And it was like one of the best things I'd ever done, where I just said, as long as it didn't hurt me, I just said yes. It was awesome. I did more living in that year than I had done in the decade prior. It was unbelievable. And so I kind of want to adopt the same thing, but an updated version, where I don't want to put, here's how it's going to happen, here's what it is, here's whatever. Just be open, right? Be open to, as you're rebuilding yourself, what could possibly fill it. So that's like, it kind of, all of these goals are kind of fluid into each other because like you're one person and obviously everything's connected, but I want to get to know myself and who I want to be. So that's where that, fits in. Ways I'm going to implement that, I'm very action oriented. I don't like treading water. It's my number one pet peeve in life. I absolutely detest it. Like I hate it so much. So like talking the talk versus walking the walk, I have no respect for people that just talk about it. Like if you complain about the same thing multiple times to me and have done nothing to remedy it, I just stop listening to you. And I literally, I'm pretty cutthroat about that. I'm not saying it's a positive trait. I'm just saying it's how I am. One of the ways I want to get to know myself, develop the person I want to be, right? So really embodying the next version of myself is to do something I've never really done before, which is journal. And I talked about this a little more than a little bit in my last video, but I'm kind of doing like an abbreviated version of this right now, just to get into the habit. But come the new year, I want to do a daily check-in with myself that talks through my mood, my health, my sleep. Like a deep dive, right? What's going on? How am I, just all of it. I want like a plan, because I want to have data and a baseline. I'm very scientific minded, and I like having, I want information. And I love the idea of being like, well, I didn't achieve that goal. And look back on that period of time and to see why. And it's like, oh, because all this stuff happened, or, you know, this derailed me, or like there's like clear insight. So I don't just go, because I'm somebody who not very good at being present. I'm very goal oriented, I'm very forward thinking. And the problem with that is when I look back, I don't look at the context to why the goal didn't happen. I just look at failure. And that's not a positive trait. So I want to teach myself the context in this way. I also think the learning, the being open and all that kind of stuff will also help me as well. I find, I just feel like it's such a, at least for where I'm at right now, I just feel very comfortable. There's like a freedom that comes to it that, you know, like I'm just like, I don't know, and that's okay. The other thing that's really like priority one for me outside of self, right, where like other people get involved, I want to invest more in women. What I mean by that, I just realized how my hair looks kind of weird. I want to be absolute best like sister in community that I can be to the people in mine. Build new bridges, make them very strong, right? That's a good way of putting it. So my best friends that live within an hour of me, I want to see at least once a month, which if you are an adult, that's a pretty aggressive goal to get. I don't even need to see them at the same time. I just need to see them once a month. I feel like with perimenopause and with just, you know, being told that your body is changing, there's this extremely like deep rooted in your like belly, like deep inside of you. There's this a sense of femininity that is shifting, right? Like there's this sort of combination. You lose this, but then this power comes, right? And it's like this sort of this like power that comes from deprivation. Like I didn't know I had PCOS until I had my hormone doctor tell me that. So I've been denied. Like I've just been, the way I said it earlier on a call was I've just been wronged by like 100 medical professionals. Like all of the doctors, all of the nurses. I've been like on the short list for cancer for many years during my 20s. Had the head of oncology do me a colposcopy. No one ever said anything to me about it. Literally went to the emergency room for a ruptured cyst. No, almost like could have died, right? Like literally no one said anything to me about it. There's this sort of like the famine of knowledge about yourself. There's this sort of lack of autonomy. This like next version that's coming up, there's this like, that is what forms the backbone, right? That's where your power comes from, because it's like, well, no one fucking helped me. So there's this extreme sense of, because no one helped me, I want to help others, specifically women. Like to the point where I don't want to listen to men. Like if it's a male doctor, and my hormone doctor is a male, even I was with him, I was just like, why do I want to listen to you? You know? And now I'm like, I've backed off because he's like, great. But it is a thought that I have very consciously of, I want to be the best ally I can to other women and just democratize the information, normalize the conversations, say the words in public, watch men get awkward, say any word that involves menopause, perimenopause. It's like, it's hilarious and also fucking annoying. Friendships is critical. Just be the best friend I can be to the people that I am friends with, right? Like really double down on those relationships. The other thing I want to do, the other way this manifests itself is in professional relationships. So again, talked about this in my last video, but self-care going forward, I really want to make a priority in a much more 360 way. So I want to start taking like beyond just like glow up, like lashes, nails, hair. I want to like start investing in lymphatic drainage, and I want to get a red light, infrared sauna. That's really important, especially with my back. That's really important to me. I have really extremely bad back problems. Like my overall health is very much grounded in my back health. So how do I help others? By helping myself, right? So that's the sort of the root of this issue, like in the root of this goal. But I want to support women. So I want to go to women. I want to support women-owned businesses. I want to, like, if I buy a supplement or whatever the hell I'm buying, I want that to be a woman-owned business. Like, it is really important to me that in my self-care, I'm supporting other women. Okay, so we've kind of touched on emotional, we've touched on mental, we've also touched on like external, other people. The last thing for me, again, falls into the same overall umbrella, is physical. I'm approaching every single one of these things as self-care, right? So all of these things are important to me to I feel my best. Physically, I'm in this thing where I'm kind of excited by this because I find there's like, again, there's like this sense of liberation that I have by this like knowledge now. I have always been somebody who's like work out really hard. I've always been like very intense exercise. I can go hard for like hours. And with hormone stuff, I just haven't been able to do that. And now I know why. But again, there is this sense of, well, I'm changing. Like this is different now. What do I want to be? How do I want to go forward? And when you're learning about bone and muscle and all this stuff, strength training is where it's at. So I want to physically get into a rhythm where I feel like I fill out my body well. It's not about making my body fit a certain look. It's about my body looking the best it could in an authentic way. That doesn't sound like anything. Saying it out loud is like, that sounds like a fake sentence or like a, you know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is like, now that I've reclaimed a form of health I didn't even know was a thing until not that long ago, which is really annoying. Or you don't make it a priority, I should say. Now there is this, okay, well, how else can I do right by my body? That's really what it is. And I want to respect my future self and really I want to take care of the house. Let's go with that. I want to get stronger. Yeah, I don't have like a number goal. I don't want to be able to like lift necessarily like 500 pounds or I don't know, whatever. But I want to be able to inhabit my body well. I want to have my bone density be good. I want all of that stuff. I want to make sure that I'm okay and I'm capable, especially because I'm so conscious of where I'm not capable, like my back, that I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to where the rest of me can not necessarily pull up the slack from that, but just I want to be a balanced person. And nutrition is the direction that I'm going in with that, because with strength comes nutrition, right? Like diet and exercise come to, like they're like a salt and pepper deal. Now that I've learned what I've learned about nutrition with hormone health, I want to implement that in a way that also like obviously feeds muscle. And I'm really looking forward to a year of that. Like I'm really looking forward to, if I make this an annual thing when I come back for 39, having like and here's what happened, you know? I want to be low carb because that's really healthy for me where I'm at right now. Protein, high fat. And that information has come from reading like the books that I always talk about. Also link below in case this is your first video. I also really want to explore not supplements for the sake of supplements. I'm not really interested in that, but in like a leveling up way. So anytime I see somebody that takes like 45 supplements, they always look like they have scurvy. Like they always look sickly, and that's counterproductive. I'm like, you spend like $1 million a year on your health. Why do you look so ill? So I want to make sure that I'm doing everything from a 360 perspective. So with nutrition, where are the gaps that I'm finding? How do I supplement them correctly to get optimal results to where I'm just ultimately feeling the best I could feel, so that I can continue to be myself. So I can listen more, so I can be more curious and read and learn, so I can continue to, you know, audit to make the best decisions for myself and the people in my life, to where I can, you know, invest more in women and my friendships. And like charity starts at home. So if I start at home and I get this stuff dialed in to where I feel my best self, so then I can go and be my best self, I want to walk the walk, right? So those are my goals for 38. Also, I'm gonna make a lot of content around hormone health and just like what I'm eating, and especially as I start winding off of tirzepatide, I've got another round to go, but then I'll be in maintenance or whatever, like trail off phase, whatever they call it. And I'm really looking forward to tackling the next thing. They're all tied together and they are a little umbrella, but they have actionable items behind them, which is how I like it. Not necessarily hard goals, but there's actionable items, and overall the goal is to feel and be my best self, right? Let me know in the comments if you have goals, if you were in a similar boat to me, if you're way ahead, behind, whatever, things you learned along the way. I would love to hear what is working for you or what didn't work so I can skip it. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all very soon. Bye.